Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Great Voyage, the strongest emperor of the four emperors Blackbeard. Chapter 71. This banquet has been going on for a ridiculously long time. After Carlo finished talking about his plan for the properties of the Blackbeard fruit, everyone was set on fire, and the banquet went on to climax after wave. From the noon of the previous day, it was not over until the evening, and the wonderful topic continued, and everyone was overjoyed. This plan made the status of the world government plummet in the hearts of everyone. Terrible. Dominate the world. Above all, it doesn't exist. What kind of hot chicken and bird government? In front of our deputy captain's plan, it's a fart, it's all for Lao Tzu to climb. As long as the vice captain's plan is really successful and the captain has a wave of ultimate evolution, then he will be invincible and fight. Who dares to fight with them? A captain with 10 devil fruit abilities. Invincible in physical skills, invincible in seeing, wearing conqueror's hockey, eating shock fruit in the future, and wearing repair gloves, comparable to the deputy captain of the peak Whitebeard Plus. Is it difficult to subvert the world with such a heaven-defying combination? Wait, etc. Such exaggerated topics continued throughout the whole banquet, making everyone so excited that they couldn't stop at all. Everyone let go of drinking, and the wine in the stock was going down at a rather alarming speed. Row is because their physique is strong, and they can't stand drinking like this. The banquet has lasted for most of the day, and everyone wanted to continue to spend the night until dawn the next day. However, under this drinking method, which was almost like drinking alcohol, at around 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, I finally couldn't stand it anymore. One by one, holding the wine bottles, getting drunk one by one, on the chair, or on the deck, or on the stairs, or in the toilet, all fell asleep, including Captain Blackbeard. The boat, unmanned, just follows the sea breeze and drifts on the sea. Of course, not everyone is drunk, like Carlo. These ideas were put forward by him. How could he be so excited, although he didn't drink less, but fortunately, he was a little drunk. Seeing that everyone fell into an unconscious sleep, the corners of Carlo's mouth twitched slightly, and he leaned on his shoulders. The female emperor, who was also slightly drunk, directly picked up the princess, and took him back to the rest cabin on the 3rd floor. Mr. Carlo, why are you back? Concubine accompany you to continue drinking. Honey, it's not going to work, is it? Being placed on the couch, the empress was a little drunk, her beautiful eyes were blurred, revealing a small gleaming tiger tooth, and she actually made fun of Carlo. It seems that this little girl really didn't drink less, and she didn't have any awareness of what was going to happen next, so she dared to be so presumptuous. You're brave, Hancock. Don't worry, it's the same in the room, you'll be drinking to the end in a while. Looking at the queen who was lying on the couch and provoking him, a meaningful smile appeared on Carlo's face. He walked to the door and closed the door. Immediately afterwards, Carlo flashed, and the next moment, he appeared beside the empress, and she screamed out in fright. Man, you can't be told that you can't do it. Since you said so, let's start fulfilling the promise of the day. Mad, dare to say that I can't do it, I need to clean up. If the banquet does not last all night, let's just, all night, in the room. Until this time, feeling the temperature coming from the side, the empress shuddered, the alcohol was dispelled a lot, and there was a little panic on her pretty face. She finally reacted. What did she just do? And what's to come? Concubine is wrong, Mr. Carlo, spare concubine, you. It's time to apologize. If an apology can solve the problem, then what should I do? Carlo directly ignored the empress' plea for mercy, and immediately went to court, and a late-night battle kicked off. The next day, until it was close to noon, the door to the queen's room was pushed open, and Carlo walked out on his own. Refreshed, this little girl's kung fu is getting better and better. It seems that in the future, it will be more training, unlocking more postures, and new experiences will come. At this time, Carlo is in such a good mood that he is extremely satisfied and comfortable with what happened last night. Mr. Carlo, you are not allowed to mention your concubine again. Hearing the faint sound of emotion coming from outside the door, the empress, who was cleaning up and washing her face, instantly turned ridiculously red, and couldn't help complaining softly. One slip of a step becomes an eternal hatred, and it's okay to be eaten clean again, but I never imagined, where did Carlo's mind come from so many strange thoughts? All kinds of ways that I have never dared to think of in my life. I don't know how many appeared last night. Feelings are so stubborn. The queen said that it is difficult to understand. Daba. Too embarrassed. Ha ha ha, take your time, you will always get used to it in the future, and it will make you more and more brave. Don't let me mention it. It's impossible for you to get your wish. Under the Empress's blushing rebuke, Carlo laughed a few times, and then Li Hao backhanded her and closed the door. Bang. My. The sound of the door closing spread to the entire deck. Last night, in addition to Carlo and the Empress, as well as the female warriors of the 9 snakes, the rest of Blackbeard and several other elders fell asleep on the spot. At this time, there were 3 corpses lying on the deck. The hunched body of Poison Q was even hanging on the handle of the stairs on the first floor. Carlo was quite speechless when he saw this scene. How did these guys drink until they hung up? Ah, is it noon already? It seems that they heard Carlo's movement, and several people on the deck woke up one after another, looking at the 4 directions with dumbfounded expressions. Special code. Who left Lao Su in the toilet last night and let Lao Su sleep with the toilet? Hey. Chapter 72. At this moment, there was a roar from the rear deck. I saw Burgess trotting all the way, looking like he was about to come out, and stumbled over from the rear deck. What the hell is, Vice Captain? Just ran to the foredeck, and before he could continue to get angry, Burgess saw at a glance Carlo, who was standing on the 3rd floor, leaning against the railing, looking at them with a foolish expression. Wait a minute, Vice Captain. Is it true what I said last night? Orochi fruit, 7 extra devours, ultimate evolution, subversion of the world. Is it real, or a dream? Not only Burgess, but the others also looked up at Carlo at this time, a little confused. Yesterday, I had been high for most of the day, and I drank countless fine wines. At this time, everyone including Blackbeard felt that what happened yesterday was like a dream. It feels like it's true, but the outrageous degree of things seems to be fake again. Snapped. Suddenly, a crisp slap sound resounded throughout the front deck, startling everyone. Rao is Carlo, who is standing on the 3rd floor, and looks at the source of the sound with a bit of confusion. No need to guess, what happened yesterday was real. Because, it hurts. Van Oka held out the slap print on his face, with a serious look, facing the crowd, nodded solemnly. Holy crap, oh man, you deserve to be doing this seriously. At the stairs on the 3rd floor, Carlo called 666. The contrast was too great. If Burgess could do it, he wouldn't be surprised at all. But, it happened to be done by the always serious Van Oka. This is very dramatic. Ha ha ha, thief, of course it's not a dream, it's true, your deputy captain, Lao Su's brother, helped me come up with such an invincible devouring root, how could it be a dream? 99. Blackbeard opened his arms wide, raised his head and laughed, and his loud laughter made everyone come back to his senses. It's not a dream, it's real. The deputy captain did propose this invincible upgrade plan for them, and a grand blueprint has been unfolded in front of their Blackbeard pirates. Now, just waiting for them to implement, step by step. After completely waking up and figuring out that it was not an illusory dream, everyone, CFAA, was boiling again, so excited that it was even more hilarious than last night. Tell me, man, where shall we go next, and from now on, everything will be as you say. Watching Carlo walk down from the 3rd floor step by step, Blackbeard asked Carlo with excitement on his face. He can't wait to start this invincible plan arranged by Carlo for him. Yes, co-captain, come on, we can't wait. That's right, what I'm going to experience next, just thinking about it makes me excited. No, I'm burning up again. Do something, must do something. Seeing the eager look of the crowd, Carlo smiled without being rude, and said, Lafitte, turn the direction to the channel to Gaia Island. 39. The first target, thunder fruit that hasn't appeared in hundreds of years, I will take you to find it. Yes, Vice Captain. Ha ha ha, thief, is it thunder? The first one is the strongest Logia, well, it can't be better. V, ha 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 ha, leave the next voyage to me, I will use all my strength to bring the 2 captains there as soon as possible. Under Carlo's announcement, everyone got excited, and they all returned to their posts and performed their duties. On this day, the big ship the Blackbeard pirates rode no longer drifted with the waves, determined the course, and galloped away in the direction of Gaia Island. Although Burgess is already at the helm, the place where they were originally located is not close to Gaia Island. No matter how fast the sailing is, it is impossible to arrive without 10 days or so. After all, the Drum Island they went to before, and Gaia Island were two completely different directions. In the original Pirates, the original route of the Straw Hats did not have Drum Island, but Nami was sick and made a special detour. Said that Sao arrived. Even Carlo did not expect that this time on the way to Gaia Island, he actually learned the news of the Straw Hats. This is the 6th day of the Blackbeard pirates' trip to Gaia Island, and the voyage is halfway through. On this day, Lafitte habitually bought a newspaper from Seagull. As a navigator, he needs all the information and movements of the master at all times, so for him, this is just a routine. However, after getting today's newspaper, before I could read it, a reward order suddenly fell out from the mezzanine of the newspaper. Almost at the same time, the eyes of Blackbeard and Carlo were attracted to the past. How could the sand crocodile be defeated by such a hairy kid? This world is too outrageous. The 100 million bounty is a bit interesting. And is this kid actually a D? Ha 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 ha. That's right, this time the newspaper headlines are reporting that Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, was defeated by the sharp-edged newcomer Luffy. That bounty was naturally also his. Not surprisingly, it is precisely because of the defeat of Crocodile and the sensitive letter, D, that Blackbeard's attention is attracted. Not to mention D, Blackbeard's name is also included. It is said that the name with this letter is born to be the enemy of God. The defeat of Crocodile made Blackbeard, who had been in the Whitebeard pirates for decades in the New World, feel incredible. He knew very well how strong this man nicknamed Sand Crocodile was. When he was young, he dared to take action against Whitebeard, who had not yet gone downhill. Although he failed, he could imagine how he would dare to do such a thing if he was not strong enough. But now, to be defeated by a fledgling little pirate, it's so outrageous. Incomprehensible. As for Carlo, who is not far away, after seeing this news, he was also shocked. His focus was different from Blackbeard's. After all, he had God's perspective, and he knew these things better than anyone else. What made Carlo feel a little unbelievable was that the protagonist group, in the original trajectory, the next route, seemed to coincide with them. Chapter 73. If I remember correctly, after Straw Hat Luffy forcibly ended Lausha in the plot kill, the next stop is Gaia Island, Magic Valley Town. It seems that there is a certain possibility that we will meet. Leaning on the bow, looking at the endless sea in the distance, Carlo thought to himself in his heart. But think about it, in the original trajectory, Blackbeard and the Straw Hat Boy met in Magic Valley Town, and there were some disturbances. This time, although it is said that due to the appearance of Carlo, some of Blackbeard's trajectory has been changed, but because of Carlo's stalking mentality for him, the route of development has always been carried out according to Blackbeard's own ideas. Although the timeline may not be as accurate as in the original Pirates, the route has basically not changed. Including this time, although this time it was decided by Carlo, the next stop was also Gaia Island, where Blackbeard would have gone. The only difference is that Blackbeard originally went there to supply supplies, but this time Carlo went to Sky Island to engage in Thunder Fruit. I remember when I was in Drum Island before, the breath of the third demon fruit power appeared in my induction. 99. Thinking about it, that should be Chopper, the Straw Hats at the time, and it doesn't seem to have gotten there yet. When he was on the Drum Island, Carlo's sights and expressions directly covered the whole island, and in that place, he could really sense the breath of the 3 capable people. Only the third strand, not on the mountain, but somewhere on the island, would have no one else but Chopper. It seems now that the Straw Hats arrived at the Drum Island just after their 4-foot left. Otherwise, the news of Crocodile's defeat would not have come out so quickly. Well, forget it, don't care. If we really meet, that would be very agreeable to me, quite a good pastime. Throwing away the reward for the Straw Hat Boy in his hand, Carlo's mouth slightly raised, and a creepy smile appeared on his face. And this scene happened to be seen by Blackbeard standing next to it. This made him, who has always been dark-hearted, shuddered uncontrollably. For Carlo, he is probably the most familiar one. Blackbeard knows very well that this guy is definitely holding back when he smiles like this. Someone is going to be unlucky. In this way, the big ship of the Blackbeard pirates continued to sail the sea for 5.5 days. On the 12th day, their ship appeared in the waters near Gaia Island. What is that? Ha ha ha, even in the first half of the Grand Line, I have never seen such a sea current pour into the sky. I don't seem to have even heard of it. The helmsman Burgess, while controlling the rudder, looked at the huge sea column that towered into the sky in the distance. The visual impact was directly filled, and an incomparably sturdy giant sea pillar connected to the high sky, and the seawater was rapidly and continuously pouring towards the end of the sky. Don't go to the island, Burgess, put your sails full, and go to the sky and the current, fast. At this moment, Carlo's voice came, which shocked everyone on the boat. Going to the giant sea pillar. Isn't this a proper suicide? I am afraid that before they can get close, their ship will be swept into the bottom of the sea by the seawater with huge suction around the sea column. Directly with people and boats, sent to feed the fish. Deputy Captain, you are serious. Stop talking nonsense, let me go over there quickly, only by riding that ocean current can we reach Sky Island. The purpose of this trip, Thunderfruit, is not here, but in heaven. Directly interrupting Burgess's questioning, Carlo was a little anxious and asked him to rush the boat there. This time, it was a surprise to Carlo, maybe because the delay on the road was a little long, and he missed the sky and the sea. According to the normal process, they should wait in advance at the place where the current will rush up, and then wait for the moment when the current erupts, and they will be washed up into the sky by the current, and thus arrive at Sky Island. But, now it seems that it is too late. Therefore, Carlo chose to play with his life and, forcibly, let the boat ride the sea. Whether it succeeds or not depends on luck. There's no way, otherwise, when the next sky current appears, I don't know what it will be, dozens or even hundreds of years later. Okay, as you wish, Vice Captain. 99. Hearing Carlo's urgent urging, Burgess simply gave up, turned the bow, and hurried away in the direction of the sky-high current. Thief, ha ha ha, come on, let's go crazy, for Thunderfruit. What's the point of having a life for the sake of Thunderfruit? After all, people's dreams will never end, thief, ha ha ha. The same place, the same words, faced with the terrifying scene in front of him, Blackbeard once again said his wise saying. I'm going. What is that? Ship? That's a pirate ship. Are they dying? In the face of the sky and ocean currents, they dare to go through it like this, and they will die. Hey, another group of pirates who have unrealistic and childish dreams. They deserve to die. On the shore of Gaia Island, many people were watching this scene. Until the discovery of a pirate ship, when it rushed straight into the sky, everyone's faces changed and they were shocked. To them, this is tantamount to suicide. Drink. Ah. On the boat, Burgess tried his best to control the helm, for fear that the boat would be swept out of control by the violent current below. At this time, if the direction of the boat is messed up, then they are completely finished, and they can't escape the result of going to the sea to feed the fish. But fortunately, Burgess ate the beeman fruit. Coupled with the targeted practice during this period, his strength skyrocketed and he pulled the rudder abruptly. It's done, as expected of Lousy, ha 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 ha. After more than a minute of intense rudder, tug of war, the Blackbeard pirates' large ship was not swept into the sea after all, but abruptly caught up with the sky current. Under the impact of the current, the big ship rose straight up at a vertical angle of 90 degrees, heading towards the sky, and rushing fast. At the same time, on both sides of the big ship, two huge wooden wings also unfolded instantly. Yohoo, it's so cool, ha 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 ha. Ah, no. I'm going to die. Nami-san, Robin-chan, I'm here to save you. Just as the Blackbeard pirates were riding the ocean currents and being washed up into the sky, several familiar voices entered Carlo's ears. Interesting. In front, is it the Straw Hats? I actually met here. The protagonist group met the protagonist group. Hey, let me think, how to torture you. In the distant sky, several exaggerated exclamations had already reached the ears of the Blackbeard pirates who had just taken the sky-high current below. The first time, Carlo heard it, this familiar voice, not those from the Straw Hats, who else could it be? Apart from us, there are other people going up. Thief, ha ha ha, but Lousy's luck is really good. I didn't expect this to be able to catch the sea. It seems that Thunderfruit is destined to belong to Lousy. At this moment, on the edge of the big ship, Blackbeard's snarling, arrogant voice came. I saw him looking at Gao Tian with excitement on his face, as if Thunderfruit was already waving to him. But the image of this guy at this time is somewhat embarrassed, grabbing the railing beside the boat, his body keeps falling up and down in midair. After all, it is a 90-degree vertical angle, and at such a fast speed, if you don't pay attention, you can easily be thrown away. It should be said or not, this time, they really all gambled their lives, and they risked their lives completely. You must know that the main cadres on the ship have already eaten devil fruit. Once an accident occurs and they are involved in the bottom of the sea, it will be a proper group extermination. Even the female warriors of Nine Snake Island, who have no fruit ability, have no hope of surviving. Under the raging of such a powerful ocean current, their physiques are no different from thin paper, and they will be torn to shreds in an instant. I'm afraid, the only person on the ship who doesn't need to worry too much is Carlo himself. He is the only one who hasn't eaten devil fruit yet, and has an almost top-notch physique that can resist the terrifying tearing power of the sea. This guy Blackbeard, I have to say, luck is really good. If you miss the soaring ocean current, you can forcibly ride it. It seems that I bet right. On the other side, Carlo leaned on the door panel of the cabin, held the railing with one hand, and easily fixed his body, without the slightest embarrassment. At this time, he was looking at the wooden wings that had been fully unfolded on both sides of the big ship, and he was full of emotion. To be honest, if it weren't for the presence of Blackbeard, the second-ranked player in the Conqueror's Luck, in the pirate world, Carlo might not have dared to make the decision just now and forcefully ride the ocean. After all, this is the soaring ocean current known as the monster ocean current. When the normal card time is multiplied, the survival rate is ridiculously low, not to mention that they have to forcibly ride this kind of miss. He was betting on whether Blackbeard's luck would work again. Sure enough, he was not disappointed. Luck is a thing, mysterious, there is it, or it is impossible to say that I want to wait for dark fruit for decades, and finally my dream came true, and I really got it in my hands. For flowers oh. In this way, the big ship rides on the sky current, becoming more and more stable, breaking through the layers of clouds, and constantly breaking into the sky. The speed is very fast, but after just a few minutes, the current suddenly disappeared, the big ship lost power, and instantly fell towards the bottom. Damn. No, thief haha, don't make trouble, it's the last step. The sudden situation made everyone on the boat startled, thinking that something went wrong and they were about to fall. After rising at this speed for so long, at least they are already at an altitude of several thousand meters. If they just fall down like this, then it will be really great fun. Don't panic, you can't die, calm down. Listening to everyone's shouting, Carlo didn't take it seriously. Obviously, this situation was expected. Sure enough, when Carlo's voice fell, the big ship was already floating on the white cloud, and it did not continue to fall. Here, it is the White Sea at an altitude of 7,000 meters. The so-called white clouds here are actually the real sea of clouds, which can drive ships and will not fall. After figuring out these conditions, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. After that, Carlo didn't waste time, let Burgess drive the boat and found the gate of heaven to Baybihai. Baybihai is the real destination of their trip. It is located at an altitude of 10,000 meters, even higher than where they are now. What did you say? Not only did you not pay the entry fee, but you also asked me, where does God live? At the gate of the kingdom of heaven, the face of the watchman's old woman changed color rarely, looking at the madman in front of her, her face was unbelievable. What day is it today? First came a group of idiots who did not pay the entry fee and just passed. Now another group of madmen have come. Not only did they not intend to pay the fee, but they also took the initiative to ask where their gods were, as if they were about to come to the door to ask for trouble. Entry fee. Thief ha ha ha, stop talking nonsense, I didn't rob you, thank God. Tell Lao Su, where your so-called gods live. Blackbeard looked like a rogue, and was quite satisfied with the shock of the old woman in front of him. Carlo, who was watching this scene, was especially speechless. You don't have a place to pretend, do you? What a climax to an old woman. When he came up before, Carlo had already told them that the owner of Thunderfruit is the so-called God in this country. 0. He claims to be a god, but without his explanation, Blackbeard can also figure it out. He is a person with normal abilities, using his fruit ability to frighten the uncivilized aborigines here. And Blackbeard's reason for asking this is very simple. He wants to go straight to Wonglong and get the thunder fruit that he longs for as soon as possible. Don't talk nonsense, Teach, don't be so troublesome. After going up, I have a way to find him. At this moment, Carlo stepped forward, interrupted Blackbeard's questioning, and then indifferently instructed, "Now, take us up." This time, the old woman didn't dare to write ink. She could see that, if she continued to beep, I'm afraid the end would not be very beautiful. So, he hurriedly summoned the express shrimp, took this group of madmen, and boarded the flowing cloud waterfall to Beibaihi. I really want to give it a try. Is it as cool as other people say it feels to abuse the Straw Hats and the protagonist with your own hands? It's just a pity. I'm afraid it's too late. Forget it, let's talk about it. As the Blackbeard pirate's ship was dragged by the express shrimp and headed for the higher Bye-Bye Sea, Carlo once again set his sights on the Straw Hats who were one step ahead of them on the Sky Island. There's no way. They all say that the feeling of abusing the protagonist after crossing is quite wonderful. Why doesn't he want to try it himself? Otherwise, I'm too sorry for his identity as a villain. But unfortunately, the time is really tight this time. In addition to the thunder fruit, I have to seize the ace as soon as possible, and I don't have time to take care of the Straw Hat crew. After all, in Blackbeard's original trajectory, he never came to Sky Island. Therefore, Ace will succeed in catching up later, and the two will meet, and then a series of major events will follow. Now, Carlo takes action, intervenes in Blackbeard's trajectory, and comes to Sky Island. The ghost knows whether there will be a change in Qinghai below, causing him to pass by Ace. In this way, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Beyond Carlo's control over the original process, uncertainty arises, and their plans may be disrupted. The only safe way is to solve Enel quickly, get Thunder Fruit, return to Qinghai immediately, and face Ace as soon as possible. Chapter 74. Is it here? Our ultimate destination. The speed of this shrimp crawler is really fast. Here it is. The so-called Sky Island. I didn't expect that there are places like this in this world. If it weren't for the blessing of the deputy captain, I'm afraid I would never have the chance to see it in this life. As soon as they boarded the Beibaihi, the express shrimp left quickly. And everyone on the boat was shocked by the scene in front of them. After all, Qinghai, who was born under 10,000 meters, has never seen such a scene in his life. Even the Empress, who had already returned to the room when she was riding the soaring ocean current in Qinghai, and the female warriors under her command, walked out of the cabin involuntarily at this time. This romantic scene full of white clouds in front of me always has the greatest impact on girls. It would be great if I could live in a place like this with Mr. Carlo for the rest of my life. If Mr. Carlo proposes to his concubine in such a romantic place, I hate it. Looking at the white sea of clouds, the Empress involuntarily covered her cheeks, and her beautiful eyes kept sweeping over the beauty in Carlo. Obviously, I fell into self-YY again, and it is quite possible to escape the brain circuit. Then, under Carlo's instructions, Burgess drove the boat, found a seemingly uninhabited island, temporarily anchored the boat, and then landed. Thief, ha ha ha, man, is that guy who calls himself a god on this island. Let's go find him first. I can't wait. As soon as he landed, Blackbeard stepped forward and asked Carlo excitedly. Looking for him? Where is the need for such trouble? We're here, of course we have to ask him to take the initiative to see us. Carlo curled his lips in disdain, and then prepared for the 533 operation to force Enel to show up. Blackbeard was excited and anxious, and Carlo didn't want to delay, which would affect his later plans. After saying this, I saw two red lights flashing in his eyes. Observation Hockey Ishin net unfolds instantly. This time, not just covering the area of an island, Carlo directly used all his strength to expand the coverage of the hard network to the maximum. In an instant, several sky islands and countless breaths of life appeared in Carlo's induction. Among them, there is also the breath of the Straw Hat pirates who have arrived at Angel Island, where the residents of Sky Island live. And the breath of Enel, the strongest god on Sky Island, was captured by Carlo for the first time. Apayado is an island that belongs to Sky Island. In the mouth of the Sky Island people, it is called the sanctuary, because it is the place where the gods live. In the sanctuary, at this time Enel was sitting on his god seat, squinting and yawning, listening to the two groups of people who landed on Sky Island without paying the entry fee. Yeah, ha ha ha, it's really boring to stay like this every day. It is a good pastime to have this group of Qinghai people appearing from time to time to relieve the boredom of the gods. After listening to the report of the priest below, Enel said with a big laugh while digging his ears. Enel didn't care at all about the second group of people in the priest's report, asking about him as soon as they arrived in Baihai. With his conceited personality, he firmly believes that he is the strongest existence, and even treats people from Qinghai as countrymen and bunnies. How can he care about this kind of information? Gods also teach the law, so let's follow the rules set at the beginning. Send a team of divine soldiers to go first and ask for a fine, 10 times the entry fee. If you don't pay, your trial can begin. If you can pass your trial, then you are worthy of letting God take action. I really hope they can persevere in the trial, ha ha ha. Self-conceited to the extreme, Enel didn't take the two groups of people who landed on Sky Island as the same thing at all. With that appearance, he completely regarded them as a plaything for entertainment and to pass the time. This is. However, just when the four priests took orders and just turned around and was about to set up the trial, Enel suddenly stood up. His face was full of shock, and his whole body was constantly flashing, and the golden rod in his hand was lifted up unconsciously by him, showing how restless his heart was. It belongs to God's hard net. Someone has master hard net. How could such a stupid thing happen? Enel suddenly roared in exasperation, and that lofty godly attitude disappeared in an instant. This is so unscientific. That's right, it was Carlo's experience with ultimate that he sensed it. Xinhuang, although it is an ultimate extension of seeing and hearing, still belongs to seeing and hearing. Unlike Conqueror's Haki, it is impossible for others to sense it except the user. However, Enel is different. He owns Thunder Fruit. He doesn't need to practice. If someone uses the same ability within his sensing range, he will naturally perceive the wave of the other party's terrifying coverage area. This is equivalent to opening the field coverage in someone else's exclusive field, which is even more dazzling than the light emitted by the sun. Properly provocative behavior, riding on someone else's face, using someone else's ability to slap someone in the face, it's too much to be too much. No wonder Enel's reaction is so big. It's no wonder that Carlo would let Enel come out to find them personally. He had already thought about his feelings from the beginning, and he would use this method to provoke him to show up. Yo, how can you be so patient? You've been so provocative, why haven't you come out yet? On the other hand, at the Blackbeard Pirates, Carlo was a little surprised that Enel didn't show up right away when he released his heart. What's wrong? Enel, who has always been arrogant to ultimate, has a cautious mind. If that's the case, then it's just right, let you, a real bumpkin, feel the power that you have never seen before. Carlo said that he is not in a hurry at all. This is where to go, just a little appetizer, it's really not enough. The next moment, I saw Carlo's eyes condensed, his pupils instantly dilated, and a heart-pounding aura suddenly burst out from his body. Deputy Captain, what's wrong, is there an enemy? Pa, Conqueror's Haki, take it easy, Co-Captain, I'm scared. Thief haha, man, are you? Carlo's sudden burst of violent aura shocked everyone around him. Blackbeard and the others naturally couldn't sense the information he had just released, but they couldn't be more familiar with the terrifying aura that suddenly erupted. It's Conquerors for Carlo, Haki. Right now, Carlo not only broke out Conqueror's Haki, but also aimed the spearhead of this terrifying aura at the sanctuary where Enel was located. Then, the fire is full. Quote. What kind of power is this, so terrifying that even the gods feel jealous? Sanctuary, Apolado, at this time Enel, a face has completely darkened. Before he could regain his senses from the hard net that suddenly appeared just now, another inexplicable aura that made one's heart palpitations swept toward him. For Enel, who has never even heard of Conqueror's Haki, he naturally does not know what kind of power this is. But at this time, he could feel that this aura was full of provocation. Especially under his keen perception, this terrifying momentum has been magnified by many times. Proper nuclear bomb grade red dot. And Enel can clearly feel that the momentum is still being strengthened. Continue to output. The meaning of provocation is getting heavier and heavier. Little spicy chicken, what kind of bird are you here? What a bird god. Feeling this provocative meaning, every sentence of beautiful and harmonious greetings was constantly made up by Enel's brain. This FK is not just a slap in the face, but a crazy ride. Face. Output. Away from a big spectrum, in this life, where has Enel encountered such a madman? God. Angry. God's verdict will surely come today. No matter who dares to offend the majesty of God, no one will be able to live. With a dark face, after Enel threw out these few words, he ignored the 4 priests who had been paralyzed by this aura, as well as a group of divine soldiers. After a flash of electric arc, Enel's figure disappeared in the sanctuary in an instant. As expected of my concubine's beloved, I have the same conqueror's haki as my concubine, so handsome. At this moment, where the Blackbeard pirates were, the Empress was standing behind Carlo, looking at him who was releasing Conqueror's haki, her eyes full of nympho. As for the Blackbeards, it was obvious that they had recovered from their confusion at the beginning. They didn't need Carlo to explain, they also understood why he did it, besides eliciting the so-called, God, why? Good guy, in other people's territory, in this way crazy provocation, really crazy enough, worthy of being the deputy captain. Ha 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 ha, this way, I like it. It's so much more fun than going to the door directly, I can't believe that spicy chicken can't come out. 3. Ziz. Blackbeard's laughter had not yet fallen, and not far in front of them, an electric current flashed out of thin air. The next moment, a figure wearing a white turban, shirtless, and dressed in a strange way suddenly appeared. It is the Sky Island god, Enel. Just now, were you insulting God? Are you provoking God again? As soon as he arrived, Enel's icy eyes fixed on Blackbeard, and then swept to Carlo who had just converged back to Conqueror's haki. Although he still has a high attitude, as long as he is not blind, he can see the obvious killing intent on Enel's face at this time. The way, I gave it to you, this idiot, I also led you out. Next, teach, if you want the fruit, you can do it yourself, I won't help you with chores. Directly ignoring Enel's cerebral palsy question, he said this to Blackbeard indifferently. Carlo didn't even glance at Enel, and walked back. Obviously, no intention of mixing. What a joke, the method is what I thought, and the people are also drawn by me, and they help you to do miscellaneous things and grab fruits. That's not a pure nanny, do your own work. The Empress standing behind Carlo, after glancing coldly at Enel who had just made rude words to her beloved, turned around, still acting as a small tail, and followed, inseparable. Thief ha 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 ha, of course, such an idiot, I don't need you to do anything, brother, I just swallowed him. Hearing this, Blackbeard immediately laughed, food was already in sight, how could he have the nerve to ask his deputy captain to help him solve it? Blackbeard is very satisfied with this extremely efficient, takeaway, service. Congratulations, the low-level people from Qinghai, I don't know how high the sky is, and successfully offended the gods. Get ready for God's verdict, God, get angry. Looking at the 2 bastards in front of him, what he said was purely a fart. Not only was he ignored, he even kept talking and insulting him, which made Enel completely angry. With a loud shout, Enel raised the golden staff in his hand and tapped twice on the tomo drum behind him. 30 million volt Thunderbird. Enel raised the golden rod, and a giant bird purely transformed from thunder and lightning flew out from the top of the rod, flashing endless arcs. Wow! The next moment, as the golden staff was swept down heavily, the Thunderbird squeaked, carrying electric lights all over its body, and slaughtered in the direction of the Blackbeard pirates. Sure enough, it's thunder fruit, thief ha ha ha. Dark water absorb. Seeing this scene, Blackbeard didn't panic, and after sneering, his right palm was instantly covered by black mist, and then quickly rotated in the opposite direction. I saw that the Thunderbird, which is not a small size, was suddenly disintegrated when it was just approaching the black mist in front of Blackbeard. The original giant Thunderbird disappeared, and the moment it came into contact with the black mist, it turned into a wisp of electricity. 0.0. And the destructive power attached to it was immediately absorbed together with the current, and as the black mist continued to reverse, it disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. What is that? It can absorb the thunder of God, what kind of rare shell is it? 3. Seeing that his attack was easily diffused, Enel was obviously not calm. But with his cognition limited to Sky Island, how could he understand what the move was, and thought that the other party had obtained a rare shell from somewhere in Sky Island that could absorb human attacks. After all, in Sky Island, special shells such as functional shells, combat shells, etc. are the most distinctive specialties, and many of them are indeed quite practical. The thief haha, the most destructive thunder. In front of Lao Tzu's ability, it's nothing more than that. Blackbeard's dark water, in addition to absorbing power, can also absorb attacks from fruit power. Of course, the range of attacks that can be absorbed is limited, and if a large-scale attack occurs, the dark water will lose its effect. However, Enel's Thunderbird just now was clearly within the absorption range of the dark water. It was precisely because of the successful absorption that Blackbeard was completely relieved. Originally, he was worried that the power of the thunder was too violent, and would it exceed the power of the secret power. But obviously, he is overhearted. With dark fruit, which can restrain all devil fruit functions, how could he not be able to withstand the power of other fruits? Brother Carlo is really right, he is indeed a bum. What kind of god is he called? Bah! That kind of ability is wasted with you. Let's obediently become part of Lao Tzu, thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard's eyes shone with gloomy and excited light, and while laughing and mocking, he also started to walk, and walked directly in the direction of Enel. Chapter 75. Inferior Qinghai people, even you who have struggled to come here, dare to insult God and be scumbags. Hearing Blackbeard's words, Enel sneered. Obviously, these two goods belong to the kind that no one looks down on each other. In their cognition, the other party is a bumper who has never seen the world. The world view is different, it is really impossible to talk about it. Seeing Blackbeard walking slowly, getting closer and closer to him, Enel didn't panic at all, not dodging or retreating at all. Especially after seeing Blackbeard's right hand gradually extending a dagger-length sharp blade, Enel seemed to have seen some big joke. Even the sullen anger that was insulted just now dissipated a lot, and he laughed immediately. Inferior Qinghai people, do you think that with this, you can hurt the body of the gods? Yeah ha ha ha, I'll stand here, give you a minute, let you do it. Defeat God in a minute and I can forgive you, but... While speaking, Enel's face suddenly appeared a bit of a vulture, and then his voice became stronger. The time is up, God's punishment will come, punish you for the sins you have committed. 99. Want to hurt him with a sword? Enel said it's a joke. It is impossible for anyone to touch his body. For decades, he has not been injured even once on Sky Island. Just stand here and let you fight, what can you do? At this time, Enel brought his arrogance and conceit, as well as the lofty looking down attitude of the god, to the fullest. It's over, this idiot. Looking at Enel who was standing there without dodging and uttering these words, Carlo twitched the corners of his mouth, feeling quite speechless, as if he had already seen its tragic end. Playing elemental in front of Blackbeard with armament hockey. That is really playing drifting on the Wonquan Road, for fear of not walking fast enough. But, Blackbeard obviously can't have Carlo's general vision of God. How does he know that 25 Enel has never even heard of the concept of hockey? Seeing the other party's posture, standing there without hiding and asking him to fight, this time, Blackbeard couldn't help it. Could it be that this guy is not as stupid as he looks? Is there really any confidence, or a backhand? Or is it the old fog that leads him to set a trap for him? For a time, Blackbeard, who was suspicious by nature, hesitated, for fear that he would pass by like this and suffer a huge loss. Yeah ha ha ha, don't say God doesn't give you a chance, there are still 40 seconds, low class, you better hurry up. 99. Not far away, Enel's laughter came again. Seeing Blackbeard's pace slow down and hesitating, it made him even more proud. I really thought that my kamui covered the sky and made the other party feel scared. I wipe, you go to teach, I'm afraid of a egg. Yellow, don't want such a good opportunity. In the back, seeing Blackbeard hesitate, Carlo almost jumped his feet in anger, and immediately cursed. Uncles, not up to expectations, afraid of this inappropriate welfare bureau. Hearing this, a touch of embarrassment appeared on Blackbeard's face, and then he continued to walk and walked over. Really, I have 2 abilities, what's there to be afraid of? Can this bird god be frightened? It really doesn't work. one-handed power of darkness directly teaches how to be a human being, and facing someone with the ability to be overcome by one's own sky, Mao Mao is worried. After he figured it out, Blackbeard no longer Inc. 3 steps and 2 steps, quickly walked to the front of Enel. 20 seconds. Looking at Enel who was in front of him, he was still in a hurry, looked at himself with disdain, and reported the time. By the way, Blackbeard smiled. Thief, ha ha ha, slow light. At such a close distance, anyone with any ability would be useless in front of him. Blackbeard pinched his finger without saying a word, and circle after circle of light waves instantly shone on Enel's body. Seeing this, Enel frowned. He didn't do anything yet. Naturally, he didn't feel anything wrong, and he still didn't dodge. Rain burial. Immediately afterwards, Blackbeard immediately raised his right hand, and the rain burial blade in front of the entire arm and palm instantly turned black, covered by armament hockey. PFF'd. The next moment, under the two confused faces, Enel's upper body, from the chest to the abdomen, was directly pulled open. As one of the big quick knives, Yubu's blade is so sharp, and it has also been evolved by the power of Tuntun. In an instant, blood surged in front of Enel, spraying Blackbeard all over his body. Question mark. What the hell? Isn't it that easy? Blackbeard was stunned. He didn't expect that the other party really had nothing to back him up. He was so frank, and let him come up and cut at will. Could it be that this is a legend, that before a fight, he cuts himself 3 times, making his opponent very puzzled, and he can be invincible? This big brother is really human. 6699. God's body was actually cut by someone. How can such absurd things happen? 3. Blackbeard is confused, and Enel over there is even more confused. His body has never been injured, let alone being pulled open by such a big hole. Hurricane, God's blood. Outrageous, outrageous. Although he couldn't understand the situation at all, Enel finally understood that the person in front of him had the ability to hurt him. It's not the same as those weak chickens I met before. Immediately, Enel endured the severe pain in his chest, and was about to dodge away and distance himself from the other party, for fear of being stabbed. But at this moment, a situation that made Enel even more dumbfounded. He found that the extreme speed that he used to be proud of and could reach anywhere in an instant was useless. No matter how he pushes it, it is useless to play it to the ultimate. It is always just a slow retreat to the rear, and the speed is slowed down by hundreds of times. How is that possible? Absurd. This is absurd. 33. Thief, ha ha ha. As expected of Thunderfruit, it was hit by the slow light, and it still has such a fast speed. Seeing Enel's rapid retreat in front of him, Blackbeard didn't even try to stop him. This battle was too easy. It wasn't as twisted as he thought before. The opponent gave a wave in vain at the beginning. What's more difficult next? However, Thunderfruit's speed made Blackbeard's eyes shine. At this time, the turtle speed that shocked Enel was actually faster than that of ordinary powerhouses. After all, the speed possessed by Thunderfruit is second only to that of Flash Fruit, and even with the presence of Speed Fruit, it can still rank among the top 3. The slow fruit can indeed limit the speed of a person, but with the development level of Foxiness Spicy Chicken, it is obviously impossible to directly reduce this extreme speed to a turtle speed. Especially after Blackbeard swallowed Foxy, because Carlo said it was only a temporary ability and would be replaced sooner or later, he was too lazy to develop it. So, there is the present result. Enel's current backward speed was a few points faster than Blackbeard's full speed. However, Blackbeard doesn't care about that either, because it's enough to cut the Enel to this point. Slimming Blackbeard. I saw Blackbeard standing in the same place. Suddenly his head fell back, his mouth went down from the top, and he swallowed his body little by little. Appeared, a move that devoured itself. Nani. Enduring the severe pain on his body, as well as the anger and confusion in his heart, Enel, who finally left a considerable distance away, just turned around and saw this scene that subverted his 3 views. I just hurt him into such a bastard, and bit by bit, I ate myself. At this time, he was opening his mouth wide, 2 lines of snot hanging on the elder, a pair of bull's eyes almost staring out, staring at this scene with an exaggerated expression. Seriously, in over 30 years of life, Enel has never seen such a ridiculous scene. He can't take care of the exhaustion that he had caused by trying so hard just now. Right now, Enel just feels like he's living in a dream, and he's not awake yet. Thief ha ha ha, gorgeous transformation, slimming teach. It didn't last long. It didn't take long. Under the eyes of Enel's second pupil earthquake, Blackbeard appeared in place, as if it had become a lean version. Except for the wretched expression on his face that has not changed, in other places, he wants to be a different person. God, what the hell, experienced today? Enel clutched the bleeding wound on his chest and his head was dazed. At this time, he could no longer think about why he was injured and why his speed was limited to such a serious matter. There are so many strange things that happened today, I can't digest it at all. On this side, Enel was confused, but on the other side, Blackbeard didn't plan to wait for him. As soon as the transformation was over, he moved in the direction of Enel, dodging and chasing after him. Gods, sanctions. Seeing the other party, the speed has increased by a few levels, and almost instantly he will dodge in front of him. Enel finally has no time to take care of him, so he hastened to do it. Seeing his forehead covered in cold sweat, he hurriedly stretched out his right hand, electric light flickered on his wrist, and then, a pillar of thunder with a thick bucket was instantly beaten out by him. One time was not enough. Enel was really startled. He released 4 or 5 thunder pillars of terrifying power one after another, and then turned around quickly. Without even looking back, he continued to run to the back, trying to open up the distance again. There is no way, this wonderful flower in front of him can really hurt him. How can he dare to continue to care so much? And his speed is so severely limited. The opponent's agility has improved a lot after the transformation. Under the circumstances, it was not long before the duel started, and Enel's situation could almost be described as appalling. Thief ha ha ha, didn't I say it, it's useless. Dark water. The speed of Blackbeard's attack was getting faster and faster. Facing the several thunder pillars that were also attacking him, he stretched out his left palm, and dark water appeared, instantly dissolving them all. The right hand was buried in the rain, the left hand was in the dark water, and then with the agility that was improved by several grades after transforming, Blackbeard laughed, chasing behind Enel who was running away in a few breaths. PFF'd. Another slash. Enel's back was instantly opened with the same hole, and the wound on the chest, far away. The intense pain caused him to shout out loudly. At this time, where does he still have a trace of the majesty of a god? 50 million volts discharge. Enel was in a hurry, seeing that Blackbeard was about to continue swinging his knife, and when he was slashing at him, he saw lightning surges all over his body, and the crackling sound continued. Almost instantly, 50 million volts of terrifying lightning, centered on his body, spread out in all directions. This time, Blackbeard underestimated the enemy. He didn't use the dark water to absorb it in the first place. The lightning spread was extremely fast. Before he could react, the discharge directly enveloped him. This is the end of blasphemy. Hearing the screams coming from behind, Enel seized the opportunity and opened a distance again, then panting heavily, he turned his head and shouted bitterly. Blackbeard was hit by 50 million volts of lightning, and he, Enel, wasn't much better. The front chest and back were all pulled open, and even the front and back were almost transparent. Through the knife edge, you could almost faintly see the beating heart. 30 million volts Thunder Beast. 60 million volts Thunder Dragon. This time, Enel finally did not dare to be careless, seized the opportunity that the opponent had been restrained by the electric discharge, and quickly tapped the tomo drum behind him with the golden staff in his hand. Just like the previous Thunderbird, with the wave of the golden staff, a thunder and lightning beast, and a long thunder and lightning dragon flying in the air appeared. The next moment, with several hissing sounds, this dragon and beast, day by day, swooped towards Blackbeard's direction. Crack clap, boom. This time, there was no more absorption by the dark water. The giant beasts and long dragons transformed by lightning struck Blackbeard with precision, and then exploded instantly. Within a radius of 1 kilometer, even the air is full of continuous arcs. Captain Guy, won't you hang up? Chapter 76. Enel seized the opportunity and used several violent thunder attacks one after another, hitting Blackbeard with precision. Lightning and sparks were intertwined, and the entire battlefield became a piece of scorched earth. The vegetation had long been split into charred wood by the blasting thunderbolt, and some even kept burning. It looks pretty tragic. In the rear, the members of the Blackbeard pirates who were witnessing all this were not very worried, and even had a few words of ridicule. It's so easy to hang up, it's not him teach. The battle should be over. Beneath the big ship, Carlo was leaning on the reclining chair that was taken down at an unknown time, while enjoying the service from the queen, such as beating her legs and rubbing her shoulders, while watching the battle in front of her leisurely. So uncomfortable. As for worry, Carlo expressed concern that no one should worry about Blackbeard. Thief, ha 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 ha, if it's so easy to hang up, then I won't be Blackbeard. Sure enough, at this moment, Blackbeard's laughter spread throughout the battlefield. Let Enel, who was happy and ready to continue playing, be dumbfounded again. This munch fruit has helped Lao Su so much. I saw Blackbeard's tall and thin figure standing up from the scorched earth, while slapping the burnt blackness on his body. He exhaled a few puffs of black smoke from his mouth. Obviously, this guy didn't even suffer the slightest injury. He was in surprisingly good condition, and he could even feel that he seemed to be even more excited. That's right, Enel's 3 consecutive lightning strikes just now didn't hurt Blackbeard, not even the slightest. The only thing that caused him some trouble might be that his body was charred. If it was in the past, Blackbeard's physique that suffered double damage, let alone 3 hits, Enel would probably kill half of his life. But now he has eaten munch fruit. Not only did he directly strengthen his physique several times by transforming, but on the way here, he collected a lot of rare materials, which he had already swallowed and merged with himself. The enhanced physique and the armor whose surface surpassed the strength of metal greatly enhanced Blackbeard's defensibility. Even Enel's violent thunder attack could not break his defense. Not to mention, at the last moment, Blackbeard used armament hockey in time to cover the whole body. Under this layer of protection, Enel wanted to hurt him. It could only be said to be whimsical. The screams Blackbeard made when he was accidentally hit by an electric discharge just now was actually just a habit of this guy. After eating dark fruit, Blackbeard was so terrified of pain that he couldn't help but scream in pain at the slightest sign. Ha 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 ha, really, it doesn't hurt at all. The biggest weakness is solved by munch fruit. It may not have been intuitively felt before, but now after such an actual battle, Blackbeard has the clearest understanding of his situation. This put him in a good mood and was extremely excited. It's not that Enel's thunder attack is not strong, on the contrary, as the most powerful Logia ability, it has absolutely devastating terrifying power. The only thing to blame is the increase in defense of munch fruit, which is terrifying. During this period of time, Blackbeard worked hard to develop this ability, and he really did not waste his energy. Then, what else can you do to fight against Lao Su? Still, obediently let Lao Su swallow it. Thunder fruit will follow me to make the most of it. Thief, ha ha ha. Full crush. It's not that Blackbeard is arrogant, he's right. With the current Enel, where is the capital to fight against him? The speed is limited, he can't run away, and the elementalization can't reach armament hockey. The violent thunder attack is either absorbed directly or given for nothing. Coupled with the 2 big holes on the body. Isn't this being completely crushed? But everything that Enel is proud of has been ruthlessly restricted and crushed to the face. You lowly Qinghai people, how dare you blaspheme again and again? Today, I'll show you the true wrath of God. 2 million volts Thor, 99. Enel panicked, completely panicked, all means were restricted. How could he fight like this? However, with his long-term arrogance, how could he lower his noble head? Otherwise, today, I am afraid, it will really be scrapped here. Experience. Forget it. Thief, ha ha ha. After getting this ability, I will slowly see it myself. Excuse me, I won't bother you, a real person, just bother. Blackbeard was obviously not in the mood to ink with Enel, and as soon as he finished speaking, he quickly rushed in his direction. No, it's too close. Seeing Blackbeard's figure, it will come to him in an instant. Enel is anxious. 200 million volts Thor is one of his ultimate moves. It is a kind of transformation using thunder, and its power is several times stronger than the previous moves. However, it takes time to transform, and it is impossible to escape while transforming. Blackbeard, how could it be possible to give him this time? Quick, it's almost done. Seeing layer after layer of arcs, constantly wrapping around Enel's body, his huge Thor body was taking shape at an extremely fast speed. In 2 or 3 more breaths at most, his proud thunder god state will appear, killing everyone who dares to blaspheme. Li Hao Hao. But at this moment, Blackbeard's figure arrived. Save your energy, I will try it out by myself, you won't have to perform hard, thief ha ha ha, quit. With a loud laughter, Blackbeard raised the black mist covering his left palm and slowly pressed it on Enel's body. Then, in Enel's terrified and unbelievable eyes, his almost formed Thor body was instantly knocked back to its original shape. Moreover, the power of thunder that could no longer be activated, including Jiwen Sexenwang, also failed at the first time. At this moment, he is no different from an ordinary person. Quote. Shocked to the extreme, Enel spit out a few words dully. However, at this moment, a blooded mouth suddenly appeared in front of him, swallowing it whole in one bite. Chapter 77. It seems as if, as the lousy of God, being eaten by people. Restricted by the power of darkness, Enel, who temporarily lost the ability of thunder fruit, the body of Thor that was about to be formed was instantly disintegrated, and at the same time, darkness fell in front of him. It wasn't until half of his body seemed to have entered someone else's stomach that Enel gradually realized this problem. The man who is aloof, extremely conceited, and so-called God, is actually suffocated by others. Damn, it turns out that this one in front of me has been yelling to eat my own 2 coins, it's not a joke, it's not a provocation, it's really eating. This is too absurd, and I can't describe Enel's mentality at the moment with ignorance. Throughout the battle, from the very beginning, it was revealed that something was abnormal, and Enel's 3 views were always broken. The uninjured body was broken, the proud speed was suppressed by the limit, and the power of thunder seemed to disappear directly. I also watched someone eat myself, and now I have been suffocated by someone. From the beginning to the end, Enel didn't slow down. He was completely blank and muddled by these strange things that ruined people's views one after another. What kind of thriller fight is this? Finally, by now, Enel's body had been swallowed by Blackbeard, and it was a foregone conclusion that he was able to react. But, obviously, it's too late. This time, no matter how much he struggled, it was of no use at all. With the previous experience of devouring Foxy last time, this time Blackbeard is quite efficient and handy. The suppression of his dark power has never been lifted since the moment Enel entered his mouth. Until it was completely swallowed, Blackbeard immediately unleashed the power of the ban, leaving no time for Enel to react or breathe. In this way, a new round of confrontation unfolded in his body. The duration of this time is neither short nor long, but generally speaking, it is similar to the last time. Although there is already experience in this area, the 2 fruit abilities are not at the same level at all. And the gap in ability is also quite big. Although Enel is conceited and short-sighted, no matter from his own strength, to the degree of fruit development, he does not know how many streets of Foxy's little spicy chicken will be in seconds. The talents of the 2 can be described as 1 day and 1 earth. Don't look at Enel's virtue, but it should be said that this guy's fruit development level is quite cow, no better than anyone, and it can even be said to be in the strongest ranks. Just like the Thor that he almost used at the last minute, and the likes of Lei Ying, Wan Lei, etc., all of them are quite hideous and terrifying big moves. No less effective than Akainu's Meteor Volcano, Aokiji's Ice Age, Logia's signature ults. In the direction of fruit development, the talent of this guy is absolutely top-notch. If he really touches hockey and sees the world more, he will grow into a superpower second only to Emperor Zhong, or even at the same level. It's just that his real strongest move, at the very beginning, was too big, and because of the mentality of being confused by Blackbeard several times, he didn't have time to use any of it. All of them were suffocated to death in the swaddling baby injustice. What a real injustice, the kind of injustice in Jun Feishui. Of course, it wasn't wasted. Enel's hard developed many powerful moves, after being swallowed, all came to fruition. Blackbeard. After Munch fruit swallows the ability, the fruit ability of its body does not need to be developed from scratch by Blackbeard. As long as it is swallowed, he will directly inherit the degree that the ability user has developed, as well as all the opponent's moves. If you want to continue to develop and continue to improve, of course you can, but the starting point will be much higher, which is also a terrible factor for Munch fruit. The perverted version of the predecessors planted the trees, the later generations enjoyed the shade. Ha ha ha, it's a success, ha ha ha, Thunderfruit, the top Logia that hasn't been seen for hundreds of years. From today, it belongs to Lao Su, thief ha 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 ha. 30 million volt Thunderbird. After about 4 or 5 minutes, Blackbeard suddenly looked up to the sky, CFAA, and laughed. Enel's consciousness was completely suppressed by him, the ban was completed, and the Thunderfruit ability was completely mastered by him. Under the excitement of Ultimate, Blackbeard directly aimed at a jungle in the distance, and used the move of, hello, to them when Enel first appeared. Instead of hitting the Tomo drum, Blackbeard just stretched out the rain burial blade, condensed lightning on the tip of the blade, and directly threw the Thunderbird out. It can be seen that there is only one reason why Enel's goods are so troublesome to use, and that is, the ratio. And Blackbeard suddenly used such an attack, but it was not aimless. Because in the jungle he was hiding from the 4 major priests of Sky Island, that is, some of Enel's men before. Obviously, after Enel left the sanctuary, they also followed him all the way. It's just that they didn't dare to show up and hid in the dark to watch the scene that made their scalps numb and extremely frightened. Whether it was Blackbeard or Carlo, they had already discovered the traces of these people, but no one was too lazy to care about such a few trash fish. Until now, it has become the target of the first attempt after Blackbeard mastered Thunderfruit. There was no accident. Under the swooping and raging of Thunderbirds, the 4 priests did not even have time to let out their screams, and died suddenly on the spot. Lao Su's perception seems to be more sensitive. 99. After dealing with a few trash fish, Blackbeard suddenly reacted, and his perception, observation hockey, have all been greatly improved. Immediately afterwards, a name that was extremely familiar and seemed to have only been heard not long ago appeared in his mind. Hardnet. Yes, it is Xinwang, it is his Blackbeard's ace mate, the top observation hockey mentioned before and successfully comprehended. The appearance of these 2 words made Blackbeard extremely shocked, his pupils shrank instantly, and at the same time he unconsciously felt his own mental power. Sure enough, I don't know how many times stronger. Ha ha ha, congratulations, Captain. Get it, the deputy captain's plan is really terrible, the strongest Logia ability is so easy to get. As expected of the person I admire most, everything arranged by the deputy captain is being fulfilled step by step. Quick, Captain, show us again, what's so special about this so-called strongest Logia? Seeing that Blackbeard had everything done, the Burgess, who had been on the fringes of the audience, couldn't stand the loneliness. Rao Shifinoka and Poison Q have all stepped forward. In addition to the congratulations, what they are looking forward to is the ability of this legendary fruit that no one has seen for hundreds of years. Chapter 78. And Carlo, who was leaning on the reclining chair at the back, looked at the excited Blackbeard, and also smacked his tongue slightly. This munch fruit is indeed a bug, and he wanted to eat it. However, after thinking about it, if it was really given to him, he still wouldn't eat it. Because this munch fruit can only bloom in the hands of Blackbeard, who has an alien physique and eats dark fruit. After all, the characteristics of munch fruit devourers are really uncontrollable by ordinary people. Ordinary people who eat munch fruit cannot suppress the consciousness of those who have the ability to be swallowed in the body, which will lead to a chaotic state in which the 2 are competing for body control all the time. Don't underestimate the power that a person bursts out in the face of devoured and death. That will is really not something that ordinary people can suppress. You know, this is still the situation faced by swallowing a capable person. What about swallowing 2 abilities, or swallowing 3 abilities? It will definitely fall into a state of madness. Therefore, ordinary munch fruit powers do not have the conditions to devour other demon fruit powers at all. Even Carlo himself is not sure that he can 100% suppress the consciousness of those with the ability to be swallowed. Going back 10,000 steps, even if Carlo ate munch fruit, and then beat Kurozumi into a vegetative state, and then swallowed it with munch fruit, he obtained the form of Orochi. Then continued to devour the capable ones. That also doesn't hold. Because, at that time, only the other 7 heads will listen to the tune and not listen to the announcement. Yes, because of the influence of the characteristics of the 8-headed snake, the other 7 heads can't kill the Lord, but it's always okay to work without any effort, right? It's alright to give Carlo a hand at a critical moment. If this is the case, then even if there are more fruit powers, what's the point? It's just adding a lot of flaws to yourself. Therefore, For many reasons, munch munch fruit is indeed special, but it is also extremely tasteless, and normal people have no way to evolve into an ultimate form. This is also the reason why munch munch fruit has not been noticed by many people for hundreds of years. But Blackbeard is different. He is a natural, alien, physique. Can eat 2 devil fruit. And one of them is dark fruit. Dark fruit, so special. It can suppress the abilities of other demon fruit powers and make other demon fruit powers fall into a state of extreme weakness. With this feature, Blackbeard devours other abilities, and it's a smooth match. Dark fruit and munch munch fruit are a perfect match. In addition, there is another kind of orochi fruit. The combination of the three, the resulting chemical reaction, is simply shattering. However, it sounds awesome, but there are still words in the sea, which are very good. Devil fruit without trash, only one with the ability to trash. This boss upgrade route customized by Carlo for Blackbeard is really dazzling. But Blackbeard itself is the biggest flaw in this ultimate form. Is Blackbeard strong? Aside from the fruit ability, this guy can only be described as mediocre. When he was young, Blackbeard did have 3 scars on the redhead's face. But that doesn't say anything. At least for now, Blackbeard's physical fitness, physical skills and armament hockey are not even as good as Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral Conqueror's hockey, unawakened. This hard condition is really bad. Not even Brother Ming. And this is Blackbeard's biggest weakness. Even in the future, Blackbeard will be able to swallow the Kurozumi Orochi and become a 10 ability person through the form of Orochi and improve himself in all aspects. But his weakness still exists. That is, he can only rely on Devil Fruit's ability for output, and rely on Devil Fruit's ability for defense. His physical fitness and armament hockey do not bring any bonuses to the ultimate form. Once his Devil Fruit ability, he cannot break the opponent's defense. Or his Devil Fruit ability, unable to defend against the opponent's attack. Then he will surely lose. Others don't know, but Carlo is very clear from the beginning. In the face of the powerhouses who are truly ruthless and pursuing ultimate destruction, even if Blackbeard has 10 Devil Fruit abilities, he can't do anything about it. And Carlo is going to go this route. An imperceptible arc appeared at the corner of Carlo's mouth. That's right, he intends to take an upgrade route that completely restrains Blackbeard. A system route centered on Bullet's super physique, Ultimate's armament hockey, Ultimate's Conqueror's twist, and shock fruit that can shatter space. More incomprehensible defense than Kaido, more terrifying destructive power than Whitebeard. Once this upgrade route is completed, even if Blackbeard evolves into the ultimate body, it will be useless. After all, Blackbeard's attack could not have caused Carlo to die at all. Follow the upgrade route given by Carlo. Blackbeard's strongest means of destruction in the future is Thunder Fruit plus Momo Fruit's ultimate thunder attack. However, Devil Fruit activation requires physical strength. Thunder Fruit plus Momo Fruit, theoretically, it can generate thunder that destroys the world, but Blackbeard's physical strength limits the upper limit of the power of this move. Is Blackbeard physically strong? Obviously not. At least compared to Kaido, a veteran 4 emperors, that's one heaven and one earth. That meant that, even if it evolved into an ultimate form, the power of Blackbeard's strongest attack would at most be 1 level stronger than the strongest move of the 4 emperors. Although strong, it is limited. Carlo is still confident that he can take on such an attack. Blackbeard couldn't kill Carlo, but Carlo could definitely kill Blackbeard in one shot if he got the chance. The power of Bullet and Armament Hockey plus Emission plus Conqueror's Entanglement plus Shock Fruit, the superposition of these top powers, even if the Barrier Fruit comes, you have to stop. Can Blackbeard hold up? Obviously can't stop it. This is the inexplicable part of the top meat warriors. One punch breaks all methods. This is Carlo, planning for himself. As for why so restrained Blackbeard. Of course, Carlo deliberately set the benchmark. He couldn't really be a loyal mate for Blackbeard, could he? That horse riding is not pure brain disease. He has no habit of being a dog to others. So why is Carlo still working so hard to plan for Blackbeard? He even gave the ultimate evolutionary route of Dark Fruit plus Munch Munch Fruit plus Orochi Fruit. Of course there is a reason. Carlo's idea is to develop Blackbeard into a very conspicuous, even dazzling shield. That's right, it's a shield. Since awakening the system, obtained Conqueror's Haki, and kidnapped celestial dragons, after seeing the terrifying wealth and power of celestial dragons. Carlo, including Blackbeard's heart, the deepest desire, is no longer as simple as 4 emperors. There is only one desire in their deepest hearts, that is to overthrow the world government, kill Mariajoy, replace celestial dragons, and become the new ruler of the world. 4 emperors is no longer the ultimate culmination of their pursuit. But for the huge organization of world government, even Carlo, who is a traveler, has no idea in his heart. After all, the world government organization, the water is too deep and muddy, there are too many mysteries hidden in the Holy Land Mariajoy. And each one has great influence. Who dares to know who is the real powerful person in world government, or who is the trump card? What is it? Where is it? Marine Admiral, 5 elders above the Marshal, I am on the 5 elders, and above. Who can guarantee that there will be more terrifying existences? Even the 5 elders, who are exposed to the world and have a high status, are only the words of I am. No one knows their true strength and terrifying degree, let alone the possible existence, at a deeper level. So, since the goal is to overthrow this terrible organization, the safest way for Carlo is to hide behind the scenes. While growing, take the savage Blackbeard to test the water of world government. He just wants to cultivate Blackbeard so that it seems invincible and powerful, the kind of power that makes the world shake and terrify. Only when Blackbeard is stronger and stronger like a monster, will the world government put all its thoughts and spearheads on Blackbeard himself. This is Carlo's purpose, what he wants to see. Only in this way can he hide behind the scenes, develop steadily, and gradually realize his plan to overthrow the world government and reach the top of the sea. In other words, Blackbeard is the target that Carlo pushed in front of the world government. This guy, Blackbeard, basically has no character at all. Everything is built on the basis of interests, whether it is against the Whitebeard pirates before, or against his subordinates now, or against him as a mate. It's the same. Don't look at this guy's obedience and gratitude to him at all times, but if he really needs it, and under the temptation of great interests, Carlo has no doubt that Blackbeard will sell him immediately. There is not even any hesitation. Blackbeard is such a person. So, using Blackbeard as a shield, Carlo has no psychological burden at all. What's more, he was real, and brought unimaginable benefits to Blackbeard. That's why, Carlo doesn't mind helping Blackbeard improve at all. If it doesn't help, he's mentally ill to help Blackbeard so hard. He is not a virgin. As a result, he can use Blackbeard as shield, coolie, and cannon fodder. Second, he was 100% sure that he could suppress and defeat Blackbeard at any time. With these 2 points in mind, no matter how awesome Blackbeard is, he is nothing but his tool man. And now, in the eyes of Carlo, Blackbeard, who has obtained Thunderfruit, has undoubtedly taken a big step towards the goal of shielding. It's not worth my painstaking planning, this guy teaches finally on the right track. What I need is you who is as strong as a monster. Chapter 79. Just when Carlo was contemplating how to arrange for Blackbeard to obtain the Orochi fruit in the future, Blackbeard here was almost stunned. After awakening the hard net, he realized how terrifying the observation haki of this scope is. This is too scary, I shocked Lao Su 10,000 years. Carlo, in the end, what kind of terrifying practice did he rely on to obtain such terrifying abilities? Turning a deaf ear to the excited inquiries of the men next to him, Blackbeard didn't recover from the shock for a long time. Without him, it is precisely because the special evolutionary direction of Xinhuang is so terrifying. Previously, although Blackbeard had heard of special sightings, he was obviously not interested in this thing. Even at Drum Island, where Van Oka said what it meant, Blackbeard was just a little surprised that the sight could cover the whole island. Not much feeling, but, now that he devoured Enel, he obtained the ability of Thunderfruit, and naturally he also obtained the hard net. After getting this sense of sight, Blackbeard immediately unfolded his induction in an all-round way. I don't know if I don't open it, I almost scared this big brother when I opened it. The coverage area is really huge. The entire Sky Island, 7 or 8 islands, and the sea of clouds far away in the middle, are actually all under his eyelid. This is a proper bug. With this ability, who can sneak up on him? Who can do anything under his nose? Bullshit, totally impossible. In Blackbeard's cognition, such a huge range of sight, hearing and color would be impossible to achieve after practicing for several lifetimes, and it would only make sense if it was augmented by the legendary top fruit. However, his mate who was dangling the sky was truly comprehended by his own cultivation. How could this not shock him? If you don't experience the horror of seeing, hearing, and seeing, you will never know how perverted and terrifying the person who cultivates and realizes it out of hand. I'm excited, are you a little carried away? All of this, Carlo bro helped me realize it, but I took a huge advantage of him. Under the sudden strong shock in his heart, Blackbeard suddenly woke up, reacted to some problems, and could no longer immerse himself in the excitement of obtaining Thunder Fruit's ability. Immediately, he turned his head sharply, directly ignoring the group of subordinates around him, and set his eyes on Carlo who seemed to be meditating on the reclining chair not far away. Looking at his deputy who should have attributed all the credit to him, he was now rocking his rocking chair, as if thinking of something interesting. He didn't take credit, didn't make any statement, just leaned there quietly, closed his eyes and rested, Blackbeard's heart suddenly. Brother Carlo, isn't he displeased with me? The crazy increase in strength made Blackbeard feel like he forgot something important. After all, this is really too dreamy, too smooth. Seeing the smooth smile on the corner of Carlo's mouth, Blackbeard always felt a chill on his back. He suddenly realized that he has improved so much, all thanks to Carlo. Carlo's help to him is really too great. And what about him, in return for Carlo? It doesn't seem like there are that many. Thinking of this, Blackbeard gasped, only to feel his heart palpitate to the point of suffocation. Come to think of it, what does he have in return for Carlo? The name of a co-captain. A shock fruit that hasn't arrived yet. It's too bad, the former is useless, it's more empty than a blank check. The latter has not yet been obtained, which one is not the top in the ability of Carlo to plan for him. Moreover, Tun and Thunder Fruit are already in hand, which is a real deal. What's more, there are some at war, and Orochi form, these top-level strategic plans. Giving and reward are not equal at all. Blackbeard regretted that he had only realized it now. If it's a little later, if Brother Carlo is dissatisfied and abandons him, then he will definitely slap himself 10,000 times. I have to do my best to repay Carlo, bro. However, it's really a difficult thing to thank Carlo, bro. I really can't think of anything that can be worthy of what he planned for me. Looking at Carlo not far away, Blackbeard suddenly had a headache. The sudden thought of how to repay his co-captain caused Blackbeard to be in trouble for a while. What has already been given to the other party is too shabby, and it is not a drop in the bucket, but if you really come up with something that can match the reward that Carlo helped him plan, it seems. There is really no. I owe so much that nothing deserves such an exaggerated payment. In fact, Blackbeard suddenly wanted to repay Carlo, it really wasn't a nonsense discovery of conscience. At least, not quite. Having been with the ship for so long, Blackbeard thinks he knows Carlo's personality well. They have a lot in common with him, and in terms of putting profit first, they are definitely like-minded people. Therefore, if he can't give him a corresponding return as a mate, I really don't know that the other party will leave him one day. With Carlo's ability, if he leaves, Blackbeard's brain will probably explode. Terrible. Carlo has a strategy, no need to say Blackbeard, everyone on the boat can see, such people, whichever team they go to, will let them take off. Even if dark fruit and munch fruit have been eaten by him, who would dare to say that a person who can come up with such a heaven-defying plan is so exhausted and has no other plans? Certainly not. Moreover, what Carlo possesses is not only this terrifying resourcefulness, but also his terrifying talent. In the past, although Blackbeard knew that he was strong, he never had an intuitive concept. It was too vague. After all, Carlo never showed his full combat power. But now, after Blackbeard obtained the hard net, he really felt the terrifying talent of the other party. To be able to comprehend the ability of such a bug through practice, this kind of talent, if it is placed on the entire sea, is not unique, right? With such a perfect combination of resourcefulness, talent, and strength, Blackbeard didn't even dare to think about what the consequences would be if Carlo would leave, or even become a future enemy. As for blocking or coercion, he never thought about it. Even if he had Thunder Fruit now, Blackbeard didn't think he could be stronger than the other party. Therefore, the only way, or in other words, in order to eliminate the possibility that Carlo will leave in the future, Blackbeard has also decided to repay him as much as possible. Ha ha ha, Captain, what's wrong with you? Don't speak for a long time, just stay in a daze. Is Thunderfruit too invincible, so excited and stupid? Seeing that Blackbeard didn't respond for a long time, several people around had countless question marks on their heads and couldn't understand the situation. How did they know that in Blackbeard's mind at this time, an extremely crazy plan was brewing? Have it. Suddenly, Blackbeard, who was still in a daze, reacted with a jolt. Still no response, Blackbeard stretched out his hand and pushed the Burgess people in front of him, and walked straight in the direction of Carlo. Thief, ha 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 ha, bro, this time I have gained too much. It's all your fault. Tell me, do you need anything? No matter how much I pay, I will get it back for you. God gave me such a fortunate general, I have to repay you well, thief, ha ha ha. Walking up to Carlo with a big laugh, Blackbeard's wretched face forced out a bit of gratitude. Although it is sincere, but no matter how you look at it, it is strange, as if this kind of emotion and expression are not compatible with the temperament of this guy. What kind of plane are you doing, Teach? When did you become so hypocritical? I still want you to do this. Stop doing this with Lao Su. Hearing this, Carlo lightly squeezed the Empress' small hand that was still massaging him, motioned her to stop, then sat up and looked at Blackbeard with disgust. Repay. You are a poor in white goods, take your head to repay. Carlo said that as far as your gadgets are concerned, I still don't like it, it's far from it. Thief, haha, brother, it's not your business, but if I don't give it to you, I'm just a naive brother. Well, man, since you won't say it, I'll have the final say. Blackbeard's thief eyes suddenly flashed a bit of cunning brilliance, and then continued, I also have a plan in my heart. I don't know if you have heard of a god-level devil fruit, Paramecia op fruit. Op fruit. Hearing this, Carlo cast a strange glance at Blackbeard and said, of course I have heard of it. Nonsense, can he not know that Trafalgar Law has an ability of 0.0, which is extremely functional and can be useful in certain situations? This guy doesn't intend to deprive himself of this fruit, right? Carlo said. Bah. He has always been the ultimate violence, and even gave up Thunderfruit, so shock fruit is the most suitable for him, op fruit for chicken feathers. Thief, haha, my brother has a lot of knowledge. According to the Devil Fruit Pokédex, the reason op fruit is called a god-level fruit is not because of its excellent auxiliary abilities or combat abilities. It's because it has something that makes the whole sea go crazy. Eternal life. The more he spoke, the brighter Blackbeard's thief's eyes became. His face was full of yearning, and the Harazi was about to fall to the ground. But it's not surprising, immortality is just a personal thought. As long as you have this ability, you can perform immortality surgery on anyone. Of course, the conditions are very strict and the price is very heavy, that is, thief, ha ha ha, after this operation, the capable person will die. Dude, my next goal is to find the op fruit person and swallow him. Then, in return, I'll let you do this operation for you, thief, ha ha ha. Let you get immortality. Chapter 80, Eternal Life. The Burgess people who followed Blackbeard's buttocks didn't have time to stand up. After hearing these two words, their feet slipped and they almost threw a dog to eat shit. No way, the temptation and impact of these two words are really too great. That is eternal life, from ancient times to the present, the dream of countless people, the fate of legends. This kind of thing actually exists. Terrible. Teach, what are you, smoking? You don't think Lao Su will believe that you are going to give me your life in exchange for immortality, right? What's the purpose? Don't give a shit. Hearing Blackbeard's decision, Carlo immediately threw a big white eye, and the shocked look of the others seemed to be two extremes. Of all the people present, no one knew the characteristics of this devil fruit better than him. The most valuable part of it is indeed the immortal surgery that can only be done once. However, from ancient times to the present, in the entire pirate world, I am afraid that no one has ever had true immortality. Perhaps the lofty I am on the Void Throne did, but that's just speculation. At least in known records, no one has done it. The reason is also very simple. Those who have the ability of op fruit cannot perform this operation on themselves, but can only perform the operation on others, and the cost is the person's own life. But Who would think that their own longevity? Let others live forever and ascend to heaven on the spot. How much heart can you do this? Unbalanced, so unbalanced. Of course, it is not uncommon for those who have been in the position of op fruit to perform spells for others and arrange an immortality when they are dying and unable to revolving heaven. In this way, it can be considered as maximizing the benefits, and it is not too much loss for oneself. It is very cost-effective to allow the people closest to him to live forever. But, when it came time to try it, I found that this road is even more unworkable. Want to do this operation, and the ability of the person's own physical condition, the degree of fruit development and other factors are linked, the requirements are quite harsh. They are all about to die, how can there be such a condition? Thinking too much, bug is not so stuck. Of course, it is not ruled out that there has always been a certain possibility, and some people have succeeded. After all, op fruit is not the 25th time it has appeared. However, why has there never been an exact record or transmission of someone attaining immortality on the sea? Not even a rumor. Thinking of this, Carlo's eyes narrowed and his brows furrowed slightly. Could it be that this so-called immortality just doesn't have the effect of letting the subject die naturally, without any other enhancement? 3. If that's all there is to it, it's no wonder that there's no news on the matter. Because even if the immortality surgery is done, there will definitely not be anyone who will gain immortality in the true sense. There is no other reason. Such an immortal operation can only give life, but it can't give luck. If it is destroyed by someone, or something happens to it, then there is no way to do it, and if the CP is locked with the king of hell, no one can save it. What's the point of such immortality surgery? Simple people won't die because of the problem of lifespan, but what about accidents, killings, and serious illnesses? Born in such a chaotic era of great seafaring, it is an extravagant hope for civilians to live and die naturally, not to mention Carlo and the pirates who compete on the sea. If immortality surgery only has such a tasteless effect as endless life essence, is it still worthy of being called a god-level fruit? Absolutely impossible. Op fruit, the reason why it is called god-level devil fruit, can be said to be 99% because it can only perform one immortal operation. How could it be so simple to put the lives of those who are able and give others eternal life, and it would be a great loss for those who are able to die? It is not as important as the combat and auxiliary functions of op fruit itself. The principle of eternal life. There is. After thinking for a while, Carlo's eyes suddenly lit up, and a possibility suddenly filled his mind. The concept of immortality. In Carlo's previous life, there were also many bigwigs and sages who gave endless conjecture experiments. Even its principle has been proved by excavation. The division of cells in normal people has an end of existence, so people have the natural cycle of birth, old age, sickness and death. The principle of immortality is nothing more than giving human cells the ability to divide and activate indefinitely. In other words, if those human cells that would no longer be fission, continue to divide, they will always maintain a peak state of vitality. In this way, the human body will naturally not age. Once this is done, it will bring the most intuitive and greatest value, which is to give people eternal life. But definitely not limited to immortality, there are other additional benefits. For example, the body that most intuitively reflects changes. Cells with this level of activity, in addition to not aging, will naturally increase their physical fitness to a terrifying increase. This is beyond doubt. There are also resilience, energy, endurance, etc., which will be improved in all directions, surpassing normal humans. As long as the head is not chopped off, or the heart is broken, which is instantly fatal and irreversible damage, it will not die. And it will recover quickly under the ability of self-healing. This is the real immortality. It is also the reason why the immortality surgery is truly consecrated as a god. Although these are all just speculations from Carlo for the time being. But immortality is all about it. How can there be so many bells and whistles in the direction of evolution? There are only a few possibilities altogether. It is always impossible to directly make people immortal and live with the world, right? That would be too heaven-defying to be realistic. After all, op fruit is only the scope of surgery. Only the possibility of changing the division of human cells through surgery is the most reliable and reasonable. Even these speculations are all concepts that Carlo applied to his previous life. But nothing is different from the original, regardless of devil fruit, hockey, etc., just talking about the human body, the world of pirates is the same. Everyone is human, who is not a mobile cell factory. If it is really such an immortality operation, then the help to Lao Tzu will be too great. With such an increase, who cannot be jealous? The more he thought about it in this direction, the more excited Carlo became. What he is excited about is not that he will gain a long lifespan, but the terrifying augmentation added to his body. Once he is really given such an immortal operation, it means that he will gain an extremely tyrannical vitality and resilience. You know, sooner or later, Carlo will get the shock fruit. Known as the strongest paramecia devil fruit with the power to destroy the world, if you want to control and exert its true power, how can you do without a wrought iron body? You can't beat it with iron, it has to be made of iron. Why can't Whitebeard in his later years play the strongest power of shock fruit? It is precisely because his body has long since been withered that it resembles Kuchiki. You have to rely on hanging bottles to survive every day, how can you still endure that kind of power output? You must know that although shock fruit inflicts huge damage to the enemy, at the same time the ability user will also be under considerable pressure. If the output power is too large, if its own strength and recovery cannot keep up, it will even add dark wounds to itself. No exaggeration at all. But Carlo is different. He follows the ultimate violence style, and his body is inherently tyrannical. With Bullet's physique that is even stronger than Bullet, he already has the best capital to control shock fruit. The immortality surgery will allow him to use shock fruit without any scruples in the future. How to develop, to truly destroy the world, do not have the slightest scruples. With the tyrannical vitality and recovery ability endowed by immortality surgery, there is no need to worry about secret injuries and negative pressure on the body. What's more, he still has his gloves repaired. Double repair. No matter how big the side effects of shock fruit are, don't be afraid. At that time, I am afraid that I have reached the top level of the four emperors, right? Thinking of this, Carlo's eyes seemed to have ignited the fire of desire. An immortality operation, combined with shock fruit, can push him directly to the top position in the four emperors. How can people not be excited? Even, in which mission, you can get the ultimate move of the emperor, conqueror's entanglement. Then he, Carlo, is the figure standing on top of the four emperors' heads. Beyond them, it's like playing. Suppressing Blackbeard at the same stage is even more of a matter of sprinkling, don't be too easy. Of course, these are all for later. Thinking back to thinking, Carlo's sanity is still online, and he won't be dazzled by these unfinished fanatics. Because the most important problem at the moment has not been solved. Even if the facts are not much different from what he guessed, it would be quite difficult to successfully perform the immortality surgery. The test is not only the character and comprehensive strength of the capable person, but also the strength and destiny of the person being cast. Card bug, that will definitely not work. Of course, Carlo is quite confident in his own strength and destiny, and he is also a member of the Transmigration Army. However, there is no doubt about Blackbeard's character. Carlo will always remain skeptical. To lay down his own life and give him an operation for immortality. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Therefore, Carlo said that he wasn't even touched by this guy's statement, so he just complained and went back. What he was curious about was that Blackbeard had figured out what method. After all, this guy, like him, would never aim for nothing. If you make him happy, then it's just a prank. The deputy captain is right. Yes, under the plan of the deputy captain, the captain started the game with Tianyu, and he will definitely go all the way to invincibility in the future. How could he be willing to give up his own life? Yes, I am the deputy captain of this wave. After a while, the shocked people in the back gradually calmed down, and they all smiled and echoed Carlo's words. Everyone is about the same person, and the word character is not related to them. Don't play the trick of sacrificing yourself for others. Even the only Qingliu in the team, the Empress, looked at Blackbeard suspiciously at this time. Even, there is still a hint of coldness in the beautiful eyes. Obviously, not only did she not believe that this unreliable guy would act like this, but she also worried that this guy would put her beloved in any danger. Although I got on this boat, I never got to know each other with this group of guys, and even spoke very little. But the Empress is not stupid. As a queen of a country, She is quite smart, and she has long seen what kind of person Blackbeard is. Cough. A little embarrassing. What's going on? Feeling the somewhat strange eyes from everyone, Blackbeard coughed a few times, expressing embarrassment. No, this is not what I expected. After delivering such a wave of impassioned speeches and making such a courageous and dedicated decision, shouldn't it be full of applause? What's going on with this full of doubt? It's so unscientific. Thief, ha ha ha. As expected of Carlo, my mind is meticulous, I really didn't plan to die, hee hee. With an embarrassed smile, Blackbeard's original face of righteousness directly broke the merits, and began to frankly confess his real plans to everyone. That's it, isn't the core of the fruit mix planned by Carlo bro for me the devil fruit in the form of orochi? The thief, ha ha ha. The point is here, what I think is that after I get it, I will go to the op fruit person and swallow him. Then at the cost of losing a head, I will give brother Carlo an immortal operation as my reward. This is the plan of Lao Tzu, how about it? You don't need dead people, you can still take eternal life, what a perfect plan, thief, ha ha ha. I see. Hearing this, Carlo raised his eyebrows, but he wasn't too surprised. Just now, he knew that it was impossible for this guy to die, so he would do this significant immortality surgery. But still made such a decision, it must have come up with a way to do both. Originally, he was thinking, would Blackbeard's method have something to do with the key devil fruit of the orochi yachi, and sure enough. It should be said or not, if you do this, it will indeed work. The core combination of munch fruit plus orochi plus dark fruit is originally the various snake heads in the form of orochi, each using the power of devouring to swallow a capable person. Then, with the awareness of snakeheads as the main, supplemented by the ban of dark fruit, they were forcibly suppressed. Coupled with the independent characteristics of each snakehead's consciousness, if one dies, it has no effect on the other snakeheads and the main body. So Blackbeard's plan is completely feasible, forcibly controlling the snakehead that devoured the op fruit ability and performing the operation of immortality. The result is nothing more than the complete death of the capable person, the disappearance of the op fruit, the permanent death of a snake head, and the 7 chi orochi in the future. Is this a thing? It's not a thing at all. Compared with what Carlo has done for him, what he has paid is only one less ability in the future. Moreover, this can only be achieved by standing on the basic line that Carlo planned for him, the savage upgrade of the orochi yachi. Otherwise, how could he, Blackbeard, be willing to lose his own life? So it is. I knew, how could the captain be willing to die? Hee hee. But it is indeed a good way, at the least price, in exchange for the chance to immortalize the deputy captain, it is even better. Yes, with the invincible brain of the deputy captain, maybe there will be some way in the future, so that I can also gain the ability to survive in the world. Even if he can't live forever, it's still possible to live him for decades and hundreds of years. Permanently dominate the sea, just think about it and it's exciting. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.